let's finish the silver on the axis, and after that we'll be able to keep going on the model. So I'm taking my darkest metallic. I'm starting to highlight everywhere. If you make mistakes like that, you just clean your brush, take the paint off, and start again. So what you want to do is mostly to highlight under the runes. This is where the light will be reflecting. But with that color, I'm going a little bit more everywhere. What I want to do is to keep the runes dark. I will probably make a few ones glowing, but not every runes. And here you can just try to follow the lines that are sculpted to give the X some shine. And then you take the brighter silver and this time you try to follow only the parts that are on the bottom edge of the runes. Like this. So it's a bit flashy on the camera, but it's not that much flashy in real life. What I will do after is adding some brown. You can use some Agrax or Earthshade or normal brown, but I will use it to give a little bit of color to the metallic. But inks and shades are very good to keep the metallic alive and only give some kind of shade to it, like this. We don't see much, but I've got some brown shade on. And if we want to have more contrast with the blade, then you take some black and what you do is you get the line here darker. So you will get a better contrast between the side of the blade and the blade. So once it's done and dry, you can re-highlight a few parts of it. So you can add black also in the area that are in the strongest shadow, like these. I will let that dry and I will do the same process on all the pieces, but I will accelerate the process. Alright, so this is how I do my basic metallic for these. So normally there will be a little bit of metallics on the boots, but I don't think I will actually film them, as this is the exact same process as I just did. So you get a dark metallic, then you start highlighting everything. So the next thing that I will do is actually the axe handle. I will make them deep red. So I will use cavalry brown here. So I will do my base coat, and then I will use, when you get that much texture on something, it's easier to actually use a shade or a contrast paint. So I think I will try my brown contrast paint on this. To get all the texture out easily, and then I will start working my way up and highlighting individually all the little bumps that I want to be highlighted. Of course, doing them one by one, starting from the dark, is a long process. So I will do it on one axe handle, and I will accelerate it for the other. I have a new desk, and it's kind of making me go out of the camera quite often, so I'm sorry for that. Alright, so this is a nice base coat for this. Now I will take my contrast Gorgonta fur here, like this, and I will use it on the handle. I will have to wait till it's dry. So I prefer the contrast paints because they are more saturated, more pigmented than the shades. So if I wanted to have that kind of result with a shade, it would take probably 3 coats to get all the details clear. With the contrast paint, it's one thinned coat. So I don't use any thinner in it right now, but I'm taking my time to actually spread it so there's no there's not a huge quantity of paint that is getting into one area. No excess, nothing. Alright. So you can see I'm having all the details popping out with only one coat. So what I will do is I will wait until it's dry, and I will start highlighting the ones that are on the top of the X that would be highlighted with the zenithal highlight. At the end, you can see that sometimes like things like this happen. You just correct this at the end. At the very end, you just correct everything that is like you can see I got a small spot there, I got a small spot there, so I will all correct this at the end. Alright, once it's dry, let's just start and highlight one by one. So I will not highlight under the X, only like the top half. And I will do a final highlight a little bit brighter, only on the top of the X. So to highlight it, I will add a little bit of flesh tone into my mix. Try to stay on camera. I'll probably have to redo a bit of my setup. Now I'm just making small highlights on the top parts. Right, so see, you got a nice axe handle. Quite fast. So I will skip the other one. I think I will just finish the X totally, and then I will skip the other one to keep the video not too long. So to paint the wood, I will start with dark brown. So you can see on the model the wood grain is there, but it's not really deep, so it will not be easy to use a wash or contrast paint to actually do it. So we have to kind of fake it with the paint. So I think medium dark brown, so leather brown. And I start doing my first coat. Now I'll try to be more precise, as this is the last thing I have to do on the axe. So if I start putting paint everywhere, I will have to correct all the areas. So I'm trying to be a little more careful. Alright, once it's done, we take a yellowish brown. Can be something like this. And we will start mixing it with our darker brown. So usually 50-50 is doing a great job. So we are not too far away from the starting color. And this is where we'll try to fake a little bit of pattern. So you can try to follow some of the lines that are already on the axe handle, but if you are not able, you just create the lines yourself. So the important thing is to keep the highlights and the lines more on the top than on the bottom. On the bottom I will put like only a few thin lines, but I don't want to put too much, as I want my highlights to be on the top of the axe here. So once the first coat is done, I will add some beige to it. Like something like this, like a bone color. And I will start making some new lines. Try to not forget the small tip here. And highlight it. Normally it's a bit different when we're talking about wood, but just try to highlight it. And you start doing some lines. Don't do all straight lines. So depending on how pronounced you want the lines to be, you can keep highlighting with by adding some more bone white to your mix. But as you do, you only do your lines on the highest, like you go higher and higher in your highlights. For doing this, I normally use quite thin paint, so you can see that this is an airbrush paint. So once it's done, what I like to do is to glaze it with a shade, especially to have the areas that are close to the metal parts or whatever darker. So what I do is I actually glaze the surface, but I leave all the excess at the junction of the metallic and the wood. Like this. So when it will dry, it will be a lot darker near the X, the junction in the X metal and wood. There we go. So like this. So I will let that dry, and that's how I would do my basic hacks. Alright, so I painted a few things off camera just because I was not sure. I decided to go with brown boots. I will make them leather looking boots, and I painted also the black border here, which will be the same on the boots. So brown with black border. So this is a black brown base coat, which is leather brown on the boots. But I will slowly start working my way up with some more yellowish colors. As usual, I will mix 50-50 with my last color. Start working my highlights. I will do one boot and then I will do the other one off camera just to go to get the video faster. So once my first color is done, I'm going with the pure yellowish brown. And this is where I start stippling and making lines to get the letter feeling a little bit. I will get one more highlight. So I'm taking some off-whites. Once again, ivory. You will see me use that color very often. I mix about 50-50. Don't want it too bright. And this time I will mostly only highlight the top of the folds and very small areas. I will stipple and I will make lines very small. I will add just a bit more off-white to get a final highlight. Building texture. Like this. So now I will paint everything else gray. I will add the contrast paint Dark Templar. To get some kind of black lining. So I will give a trick also for the small parts on the top of the boots. Maybe I can zoom a bit. You can see that there's very small parts there. I don't think that the contrast paint will actually work for this. You can take right away some black paint and paint them black. So that will make the black lining. We'll go over with the gray after. I will only do those three. This. So you can see why it's important to have the black lines around those small details. We were almost not able to see them when they were only gray, but with the black line it's easy to see them now. So I will add the black contrast on that trim. So I'm trying to get a nice black line also with the brown part of the boots. Then we will do the highlights on those gray parts, and what will be left will be the metallic part on the boots and on the knees. After that, every part of the model will be painted. I will have to finish like some stuff like the other hacks and things like that, but mostly you will know how to do it. I'm trying to mostly hit the edges here. Once it's done, you can do some lines and some stippling to get texture. Way off, all right. hitting the edges, and then some lines to give the impression of letter, and some stippling also. I will add some off-white to my gray for the final highlight. This time I will just add less and do finer lines. Alright, so I will have the small straps to do on the other side, but that gives you an idea. I'll just zoom out so to give full look of the model. I will do the metallic here. That will be the exact same process as on the weapons. So one coat of metallic, one coat of contrast, you do your highlights, and you're done. So for the sake of keeping the video not too long, I will finish everything off camera.